Hello everyone, my name is Heather Autumn and welcome to my channel. Alright, so I'm here at the grocery store because I had this great idea to make a Thanksgiving themed bento box. Now you guys know how much I love Japanese things, and making bentos is kind of a form of self-care for me. And with the holidays and everything coming up, I wanted to sort of bring like a East meets West sort of style to it. But I'm going to take you inside and shop for some of these ingredients, and then we're going to go home and make it. Okay, so we're back home. So the two most time-consuming items on this list is probably gonna be the rice as well as the cranberry turkey meatballs. So I'm gonna start with those because I feel like the other sides are gonna be super easy to get done and relatively easy to either freeze or put in the fridge. So what I like to do to stay organized is to measure everything in advance, so let's get that started. The first thing you'll need is a 1.5 cups of low sodium chicken broth. The next item will be 1.5 cups of unsweetened apple juice, followed by 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. You'll want 3 tablespoons of butter divided, and you'll want 1/2 teaspoon of salt and parsley, and you'll want 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, dried oregano, dried thyme, and 1 bay leaf. To make the rice, you'll want 1 cup of wild rice blend, rinsed and drained, 1/2 of a large onion diced, 1 Fuji or honey apple crisp chopped, 3 cloves of garlic minced. You'll want 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 cup of dried cranberries, and 1/2 cup of chopped pecans toasted. This is either going to be an amazing idea, or I'm gonna have a member of the Yakuza come to my door and like yell at me for messing up one of their like fundamental traditions over there. So if you're from Japan and this offends you, I'm super sorry, especially if you're part of the Yakuza.
まさかお前不死身の達か。
やだ見てヤクザよ。一般人に怖いわね。
Alright, so now that we have all of our ingredients prepped, let's get cooking. First thing you want to do is combine the broth, apple juice, Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of the butter, salt, pepper, dried thyme, oregano, parsley, and a bay leaf, and get that boiling in a non-stick skillet. So I don't have a non-stick skillet that would accommodate this very well, so I'm actually going to just use a saucepan, which I have right here, and hopefully it works out. Once it's boiling, add the rice and cover and reduce the heat to low. So you're going to want to check on the rice at about 45 minutes just to make sure it's cooking correctly. If you feel like it's dry, you can add some water. So if you have the opposite problem and you actually see some water left over after the cooking period, you can drain that off and then just set it aside in a bowl and get started on your other things. So while our rice is cooking, which you can see over there, I wanted to make some easier sides. The other thing I'm going to be doing actually comes from this Effortless Bento book, which you can see all of my little page markers. I love this book. In fact, if you were only going to buy one bento book, this would be the one I would recommend. And so we're going to be turning to one of the saved pages, and specifically for this one here, these little pumpkin purses. Now, I don't have that squash on me, but I do conveniently have these microwavable sweet potatoes. You just pop them in the microwave with their skins on and this plastic on, and it cooks it in about 6 minutes. And from there, I'm gonna scoop out the insides and add 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of butter. And then what you do is you divvy it up and you put it in plastic wrap, and you just wind it really tight so it looks like a little purse or a ball, and you can freeze these. So this is a great thing to have on hand to just pop into the bento and get going with your day. All right, so now that we have these cute little sweet potato ball things done, our rice is also done, so we're going to finish that up with the other steps. I would also like to take this time to say that if it feels a little overwhelming, it's okay. I'm going to have everything written out, all of the ingredients, all of the recipes, and linked in my description below to my website, so you can look it all up there. Okay, to the same pan that we had our rice cooking, we're going to add some butter as well as our onions and our apples. We're going to cook them over medium heat for 5 to 7 minutes. Meanwhile, over medium heat, we're going to toast our pecans. Now, after you've sauteed your onions and your apples, you can add in your garlic and saute for 30 more seconds. Alright, so once your onions and your apples and your garlic are all cooked and ready to go, you're gonna add back in your rice as well as your dried cranberries, the toasted pecans, as well as your apple vinegar. What I like to do is pre-portion my rice. I'm gonna measure it anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of rice. And what I'll do is I'll put that in plastic wrap, kind of like what we did with the sweet potato balls. And then I'm gonna go and put that in the freezer. So in the morning, it's already pre-portioned, and all I have to do is grab one of those bags, throw it in the microwave for anywhere from 1 minute to 30 seconds to thaw it out just enough so that I can pack it easily in my bento. The next step is making these turkey and cranberry sauce meatballs. This is going to be the turkey substitute in our bento. You've seen me make Hawaiian meatballs, and this is going to be similar. So I'm gonna get started on that because that is the next most complicated thing. So the first thing you'll need is this 94% lean ground turkey meat. To this, you'll be adding a 1/2 cup of unseasoned breadcrumbs. Next, you'll want to add 1 tablespoon of this extra virgin olive oil. Next, you'll add 1 egg that is lightly beaten. Next, you'll want to add 1 shredded apple. This is a Granny Smith. You'll want something tart. So after shredding, I tried to squeeze out some of the water, but this is our Granny Smith apple, and we're just gonna add that to our mix. The next thing you'll want is 1.5 tablespoons of this fresh sage. Next, you'll want 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. You'll want 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, or you could also use the sea salt. And lastly, you want a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Preheat your oven to 425. And also get a baking sheet ready with some parchment paper. All right, the next part is to mix it all. I like to use my hands just to make sure the texture is right because you don't want to over mix these. So you can roll these out by hand if you'd like, but I prefer to use one of these little ice cream scoopers. It always seems to do a really good job in making just everything uniform. So I'm gonna go and roll those out and put them on my lined baking sheet. So while those are in the oven baking, we're gonna take this time to make the glaze. Now this has 1 cup of whole cranberry sauce, a 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce, the zest of 1 orange. So over medium heat, you're gonna take your orange zest, your applesauce, and your cranberries, and you're gonna heat them up along with 1 tablespoon of orange juice and 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup. And to that, I'm gonna start putting in my meatballs. So it is almost 10 o'clock at night, and I have a few more recipes, but I also have work in the morning and I have to get up pretty early for that. So I'm gonna pause it here, but through the power of editing, you won't notice that it's the next day, except that my outfit's probably gonna change. So we're going to pick this up tomorrow, starting now. All right, so it's the next day. I'm so happy that I was able to split it up because now I have some natural lighting. Now I have some time to show you the last couple of recipes that we have, as well as how to plate this. So with that, let's get started. So what I'm gonna show you how to make is a bacon cooked green bean. And on top of that, I'm also going to be adding a salad because my bento box has 2 compartments and I like to fill the top one with a salad. And this is going to be a fall harvest themed salad. All right, so for these veggies, it's a simple recipe. It takes about 15 minutes to make. And what you will need for that is a 1/2 pound of bacon because everything tastes better with bacon. You'll need 1 pound of these fresh green beans. You're gonna need 4 cloves of garlic. And I can't cheat and use my jarred minced garlic. These have to be whole cloves. Next, you'll want 1 large shallot or an onion, a small onion. In fact, I'm probably only gonna use half of this. And last but not least, you're gonna want salt and pepper. All right, so the longest thing to cook on this will be our bacon. So I'm gonna get started with that. So now that our green beans are all finished, we can start working on the salad. So the salad is the one aspect of this that can't be prepared ahead of time. So what I like to do is take my dressings and then fill these up for however many days I need. And then that way, when you pack your bento, you can keep your dressings separate, which will keep your salad fresh. For the dressing, you're gonna need to mix the following. You'll need to whisk together a 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil, a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, a 1/4 cup of unsweetened apple juice or apple cider, 2 to 3 tablespoons of honey, 1 tablespoon lemon juice, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and freshly ground black pepper to taste. All right, now comes the really fun part. This is where we can talk about really customizing how you want your bento to look and feel and how you plan to put your own spin on it. So for me, I usually like to line my bento boxes in parchment paper, and I found all of these different kinds to use. And so I'm gonna pick my top favorites that I'm gonna be using for this box. So I decided on my 2 most favorites. I'm gonna be using this one for the salad and this one for the rest of the bento. All right, so ignore the mess behind me. My kitchen is wrecked, but this is my dinner, so I wanna try it, and I also wanna let you know how it tastes as well. So first up is this salad. I'm really happy with it. And I have my little dressing, just like that. Itadakimasu. So I have a little bit here with the apple and dressing, and there's even a pecan. So I'm gonna give that a try. If you're one of those people who thinks you couldn't make a really good restaurant quality salad, try this recipe. Because not only do you have like the veggies and everything, but you have that crunch from the toasted pecans, you have the sweetness of the apple balanced with the cheese, and then you have the tartness of the cranberries. It is just very cohesive. And then the dressing kind of brings it all together because it has sort of like that tangy flavor, but it's also sweet. That is a solid salad. That is a really, really good salad. All right, moving on to the main section of the bento. We have our rice, we have our turkey and cranberry meatballs, we have our garlic and onion cooked green beans, and we also have our sweet potato, kind of like a pumpkin pie. So we're gonna save that for last because it's dessert. So let's try the rice first. All right, this is a little bit of a big mouthful, has a little bit of everything. So I've never had that one before, and I'm blown away. You know how people say, oh, it tastes like Christmas? That's this. It's savory. The onions in that and all the spices that all of that rice was cooked with really all came together to make this savory but slightly sweet because of the pecans and the cranberries. Like, it just all came together really, really well. And I would make that as a side whether it was going in a bento or not. All right, next up is the turkey meatballs with the cranberry glaze. So again, haven't tried this before, so I'm hoping for the best. This is a winner of a bento. Oh my gosh. If you live in Japan or if you live anywhere outside of the US and you want to have a mini experience of Thanksgiving, cook these things because they're all turning out great. The turkey meatball is like the perfect bite. It has that meat flavor that you start kind of wanting when you're eating a big meal, and it has that sweetness of the cranberry sauce, and it just all comes together. And with that sauce, we also added some orange zest and some orange juice. It just plays so well with the cranberry, and it just mixes in it, and it makes this very Christmassy flavor. This is like making my heart happy. I'm so happy by all of these so far. So let's dig into the green beans. All right, so let's give it a try. I actually want to say, in comparison to the salad and the meatballs and the rice so far, this one is a little bit like, but I think it's because the other items are so power-packed with flavor that it kind of makes this the shy dish. It's the wallflower dish. I get the impression with this, it almost has a feeling of like guilt with it. It knows you put it in the bento because you felt guilty eating all this delicious food and you had to add a veggie. All right, last but certainly not least is our little sweet potato purse, and it should taste a little bit like pumpkin pie. That is clearly dessert. Oh my gosh, I feel like I've just had a multi-course Thanksgiving dinner in a packed up little baby bento. It has such flavor. It is so good. It's all gonna be linked in my blog, so please check the description below for the link. But guys, I'm really happy with this. I really hope you like this. If you did, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It all helps my channel, and also it lets you know when I have a new episode out, which is every weekend, but still. So again, thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this episode, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening or day or morning, whatever. Have a great one. Bye.